Ever wonder why some absolutely brilliant, totally innovative products just completely flop, while other, kind of simple ideas turn into these massive global empires? Well, welcome to this explainer where we're going to figure that out. Because the secret rarely lies in the product itself. It actually lies in a fundamental, crucial shift in perspective, moving away from what we want to sell and focusing entirely on what the customer actually needs. Today, we are unpacking the ultimate customer-centric playbook. Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll dive into the marketing mindset shift. Then we'll figure out how to master the marketing mix and decode buyer behavior. After that, we're going to look at how to segment, target, and position before finally wrapping up with building the perfect product. Let's get right into it. All right, part one, the marketing mindset shift. It's all about focusing on the customer. Now, I know focusing on the customer sounds incredibly obvious, right? But honestly, it's the biggest mistake rookies make. They get completely obsessed with their shiny new product instead of, the actual person who's supposed to buy it. To fix that, we really need to understand the core definition of the marketing concept. This isn't just about running a few clever ads. It is a deeply customer-centered strategy. It means your entire business exists to identify, understand, and meet the needs of your target market better than anyone else out there. And this requires an integrated approach. Your sales team, your research and development, and your customer service all have to work together to serve the buyer, because ultimately, long-term profits only come from happy, loyal customers. This creates a pretty stark contrast in how a business operates. Think of the selling concept as just selling what's made for a quick, short-term gain. It's all about the product. But the marketing concept, that flips the whole script. It focuses on the customer from the get-go. The goal here is to make what will sell and build real, long-term relationships. It's basically the difference between a short-sighted hustle and building a sustainable, thriving business. And today's modern businesses, they take this a step further with the societal marketing concept. This is a brilliant little extension that adds social responsibility to the mix. It basically asks, hey, how can we meet customer needs in a way that actually benefits society? Take a brand like Patagonia, right? They built their entire identity around environmental activism and reducing waste. It creates value that today's customers deeply, deeply care about, which in turn builds this unbreakable long-term trust. Moving on to part two, mastering the marketing mix, where we'll equip you with the right tools. So you've got the mindset down, but how do we actually turn this into an actionable strategy? Well, enter the legendary 4 Ps of the marketing mix: product, price, place, and promotion. These are basically your controllable levers. You dial them up or down to directly influence a buyer's decision. What are the specific features of your product? Is your price super affordable or more premium? Where is the place customers actually buy it? Online or in a physical store? And how do you handle promotion to convince them to make the purchase? Let's bring this abstract theory down to earth. Imagine your local everyday Dahi Bella street food shop. For the product, we aren't just saying food, right? We're talking fresh, homemade, perfectly soft lentil dumplings topped with yogurt and spices. For price, it's super affordable daily pricing, maybe some combo deals or a buy 5, get 1 free loyalty card. The place is a physical shop near a busy school, plus they do delivery on apps like Foodpanda. And promotion, they're offering student discounts and crushing it on Instagram and TikTok. See, the 4 Ps apply to literally everything, from massive tech giants to your favorite local food stall. But wait, remember that mindset shift we talked about? We have to look at this from the customer's point of view. Enter the 4 Cs. While you, the business owner, see product, the customer actually sees customer needs. You look at price, but they see total cost, which, by the way, includes their time and effort. You think place, they think convenience, like how easy is it for me to get this? You think promotion, but they want communication. They want a two-way interaction, not just to be shouted at by ads. Balancing these Ps and Cs is exactly how you build a strategy that's both business smart and totally customer-driven. Actually, one quick crucial note here. If you're offering an intangible service instead of a physical good, like, say, a salon, a consultancy, or a bank, you've got to expand this to the 7 Ps. You add people, which is your staff's customer service. You add process, meaning how fast and seamless the service is delivered. And you add physical evidence. These are the tangible cues, like the ambiance of your waiting room or a super sleek website, that prove to the customer your service is top-notch. All right, part 3, decoding buyer behavior. Let's take a look inside the customer's mind. Now that we've got our toolkit, let's shift our focus entirely to the real hero of our story, the buyer. So why do we buy what we buy? Get this. Studies show that up to 95% of our purchasing decisions are actually subconscious. Crazy, right? Our choices are invisibly guided by this whole matrix of factors. You've got cultural factors, like our traditions and values, social factors, like peer pressure from friends or influencers, personal factors, like your age and income, and of course, psychological factors, like whatever is currently motivating you. Because of all these invisible factors, every buyer goes through a surprisingly predictable psychological journey. It's basically a 5-stage process. First up is problem recognition. You realize you have a need. Then, information search. You're Googling it or asking friends. Next is evaluation of alternatives, comparing brands, checking prices. Then comes the big moment, the purchase decision. But wait, it doesn't end there. Stage 5 is post-purchase behavior. That's the satisfaction, or maybe the regret, that completely determines if they'll ever buy from you again. Let's tie these 5 psychological steps right back to our Dahi Bella shop example. Step 1, you're starving after work. Boom, problem recognition. Step 2, you open up Instagram to find a nearby snack. That's your information search. Step 3, you're comparing photos and reviews of a few different stalls. Step 4, you finally make the purchase decision based on what looks best and fits your budget. And step 5, if it hits the spot, you're leaving a glowing review or texting your friends about it. So what feels like just a random afternoon craving is actually this highly predictable, targetable pattern. Section 4, segment, target, and position. Let's talk about dividing to conquer. Knowing how buyers think is great, but it means you absolutely cannot just shout your message into the void. You have to take this massive, chaotic crowd of buyers and divide them into specific, actionable groups. This is market segmentation. Rule number 1, never try to sell to everyone. Instead, slice the market up. You can use demographic segmentation, targeting by age, gender, or income. Geographic, targeting by city or climate. Psychographic, like focusing on health-conscious fitness buffs. Or behavioral, grouping people by their actual buying habits and brand loyalty. Now, these slices form the foundation of what we call the STP model: segmentation, targeting, and positioning. Once you've segmented the market into those smaller groups, you target the specific group that is most likely to buy your product. And finally, you position your offering. This means crafting a crystal clear message that presents your product in the absolute most appealing way possible to that very specific group. Depending on what kind of resources you've got, you have a few different targeting strategies to play with. You could go big with mass marketing. Think Coca-Cola, aiming for global appeal with one universal message. Or you could use segmented marketing, kind of like Nike, making totally different shoes for runners, kids, and pro athletes. If you want to get really specific, there's niche marketing, like a vegan skincare brand exclusively for eco-conscious buyers. Or you can go all the way down to micro-marketing, literally using data to send hyper-personalized custom offers straight to individuals. And finally, Section 5, building the perfect product, from concept to launch. So, we've got the strategy, and we know exactly who our buyer is. But what actually is a product, and how do you bring one to life? Well, a truly successful product is almost never just a physical item. Think about a smartphone. It actually breaks down into 3 distinct levels. First, the core product. What's the fundamental benefit? For a phone, it's connectivity and communication. Second is the actual product, the physical device itself, the sleek glass, the 256 gigs of storage, the brand name. And finally, the augmented product, all that extra value wrapped around it, like a 1-year warranty, stellar customer support, and cloud backup. You aren't just selling metal and glass, right? You're selling an entire multi-layered solution. So, how do you actually build this thing? You follow the new product development process. Step 1 is idea generation, just brainstorming with your customers and your team. Next is idea screening, where you ruthlessly filter out the bad ideas based on cost and feasibility. Step 3 is concept development and testing. This is where you take those surviving ideas and actually test them out with your target audience. And step 4 is business analysis. That's where you sit down, crunch the numbers, and estimate your sales, cost, and return on investment before you ever spend a dime on manufacturing. Which brings us to the end of this explainer. We've covered a ton of ground today. You've seen the mindset shift from just selling to true marketing. You know the 4 Ps inside and out. You understand the subconscious journey of the buyer, and you know exactly how to build a multi-layered product. You basically have the ultimate customer-centric playbook in your hands now. So the only question left for you is, what problem is your next product going to solve? Keep the customer in focus, and the rest will naturally follow. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and keep learning.